fear of pain in movements and postures leads to actual pain. Example is right now my neck is kind of messed up here a little bit. So when I start to turn it to the side here, at a certain point, I feel pain. But before I even get to that point, it's like anticipatory pain. Now, healthy muscle tissue, healthy fascia in the body is moving, it's expanding, it's contracting, and there's blood flow and nutrients coming through the blood, and there's nerve signals going to and from that part of the body. A part of the body that's immobilized, maybe it's recovering from injury, or maybe just our movement patterns keep that part of the body a little bit more immobilized, isn't getting all that movement and is potentially getting less nutrients and potentially having issues of nerve information going to and from. So we're going to talk about another example of anticipatory pain and then how to work with this so we can accelerate the rate at which we heal and reduce the amount of times we get injured, because the more expansive ways we're moving, and that doesn't mean larger movements necessarily, it can also mean more attention to subtle movements, and there's an infinite amount of ways I can move my hand from here to here, right? With just subtle differences in how I organize my body. So we're going to talk about how to work with this anticipatory pain. And it's a great system to have, actually, because if we didn't have it, if we didn't have this kind of buffer zone saying like, hey, you know what, that was painful before, you're going to feel it now, we probably would be getting injured a lot more. But we need to work with it and really figure out what our limits are so that we can start getting more motion to that part of the body, get more nutrients there, and also have the mind know like it's safe, have the nervous system know it's safe. So another example is I was sitting on this bench the other day, and wooden bench. I started rubbing my hands on it. Dude, even just talking about it right now, like the splinter, I can feel it in my body. Anyway, so I started rubbing my hands on it. And as I was doing that, I felt tension all throughout my body. Tension and like aversion. Like, let me get away from this bench. And I wasn't actually getting a splinter. Like, there was the chances of me getting a splinter were actually super low, but it was so fearful that it was creating this tension pattern in my body, really saying to my body, like, you need to tense up and get away from this. So it's kind of restricting my options, my imagination of how I want to move, how I want to organize myself. And this is just an example of how anticipating what something is going to feel like can create sensations in our body and then change the way we move and behave and change the way we feel, change our emotions, right? Because the emotions are very helpful. They extend the reaction. If we were just only reacting to what we feel through our senses all the time, as soon as that threat or that thing we're perceiving as a threat goes away, we wouldn't be afraid of it anymore. But now I'm feeling this bench, and then I feel this anticipatory sensation of pain, and the emotions come. I correlate the emotion with that object, and I want to get away from it. And then once I'm in this state of having categorized that thing as a threat or like disadvantageous for me to be next to, it's kind of hard to get out of it. So how do we get out of it? I'm going to get to that here now with the neck example. As I start to turn my neck here, I can feel and like in the splinter example too, I can kind of feel my heart rate get up a little bit, tension occurring throughout the body. So what I want to offer is explore that place. Explore the limit of where that tension begins and where the heart rate accelerates, where the breathing changes, and just be very aware of it and figure out if you can be safe in that space. So in the neck example here, I'm not going to do it because I want to talk into this microphone here. But as I'm turning, I would reach a certain point where I would go, oh, I don't feel safe here. I don't feel safe. And I can back off of that point and go back to a place where I feel safe. Or start to observe the sensations that are letting me know that I don't feel safe. The breathing, the heart rate, and see if I can actively change those. So now I've gained a new position where I feel safe in my body. And if I can feel safe there, that's true. I'm not deluding myself into like, oh, you're safe here, right? And I think that's the belief, at least the belief I had a lot of times with doing work like this, where it's like, well, it didn't feel safe a moment ago, so like, how can that be true now? And yeah, great, that's a cautious way to be, but explore a little bit, see what happens, right? We're trying to get more movement into the space, we're trying to get more nutrients into there, we're trying to let the body know it's safe to be there. So we're just going to explore. and continue to do that. And another thing might be to not necessarily continue into that same position that's going to hurt, but find the limit, find that boundary of, okay, where does this start to bother me? And just explore alternative movements there. And what we're doing is we're creating a map of the safe space to move there and extending our movement options and reducing the unhelpful, the reactions that don't help us heal our body, that create this tension, this fear pattern that are helpful sometimes, but they might not be helping us right now. So we just need to figure out if they're helping us right now in these examples. And we've created that map, and we can start to move in that map more. And this isn't just a thing with injuries. This is a thing with your joints and your body in general, right? So for me, what might feel unsafe for me of like putting my arms all the way behind my back, for a professional trapeze artist, that might feel very safe because that person has had experiences doing that movement. Now, this doesn't mean just like go and rip your freaking arms off behind your body, because we need to feel safe. If we don't feel safe doing it, it's actually going to make it more scary in the future. So we approach these things very mindfully, very delicately, very curiously aware of the sensations in the body, and look to build a larger map of the safe space to move. I hope this works for you if you're experiencing some sort of persistent pain or injury, or you just want to explore more movements in your body. Thank you.